iHeart Podcasts. Hear more Gold 101.7 podcasts.
Playlists and listen live on the free iHeart app.
Hey everybody, it's time for Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor. Yeah, yeah.
On the cutting room floor today.
This is a story about persistence pays off. A woman in South Korea who took a while to get a driver's license. I'll tell you about her in a minute, but let's ask the question of you, Brendan. Did you get your car license first go?
First go. And I had to go and see a guy called Hitler. They called him Hitler.
Where did you have to go to Germany?
No, he was at the local registry.
He was playing golf. He was in a bunker.
But he really looked like Hitler and he leant into it. He had the mow and everything. I think he was like full on into it. And
so when you went to see him, meaning you didn't have to drive him?
Well, my dad took me up there and my dad used to have this old Jag. And before you go, Richie, it was a real heap of shit Jag. And it was full of rust and 2 of the 3 engine mounts were cracked.
But so when you went around a corner, in that car?
Well, I learnt to drive in his Toyota Hiace van, which was a column shift manual. So that taught me a lot of things about reverse parking and all that. But we thought, well, let's not take that for the test. That's a bit ambitious. Let's take the old man's Jag with 2 of the 3 engine mounts cracked. So you went around a corner, the whole engine shifted in the front. But anyway, Hitler passed me. And he was happy.
So did Hitler sit in the car next to you?
No, he sat in the back. He thought I was Goebbels.
Well, take my tank. Because there were some people who, if they grew up in country towns or whatever, I've got a friend who drove his friend. He didn't have his own license, but he drove his friend to the police station. And the policeman just said, okay. And he went around the block and said, all right, you've got it. And then the guy who drove him in said, well, I better get mine. He said, do you drive like him? And he said, yeah. And he said, okay, here's yours.
Well, my mate, the scamp, when he got his P plates, a copper mate of the family said, give me your P plate license. You know, this is back in the days when they were on paper. And he said, right. And he wrote, and this guy was a sergeant, wrote his name and a phone number. And he said, if you get pulled up, hand this over.
No.
And he had a get out of town HT Holden V8 big thing with massive big rear tyres and a massive big V8 engine. And the coppers would pull him up because he was on his red Ps.
And he'd hand over a piece of paper that said, don't touch me.
And they just go, yeah, no worries, mate, carry on.
Wow. What about this woman in South Korea? I'm going to tell you, she spent $14,000 on driving lessons over 15 years because it took her that long to get her license. She had 960 attempts at a driving license. She set a Guinness World Record. Woohoo! She must be thrilled.
That would be, if she did it once a year. No,
well, I'll give you the stats. I know you can't do the maths.
She's immortal. She's 960
She's
years
Highlander.
old. No, if she did it, okay,
no, I'll give you the stats. She didn't start learning to drive until she was in her 60s because she says she was too busy raising her children. She's only got 4 and she started at her 60s. I have to pick them up from their jobs every day. Anyway, she said there was a theory test, first of all, that she didn't pass and kept doing then obviously the practical. So let's break down the maths here.
So she's not 968 years old.
She did the equivalent of an exam every day, 5 days a week over 3 years.
Wow.
That's the equivalency of what she did. So she spent 15 years doing it. But if you boiled it down, that's what it took.
Wow.
And she's become a national hero. She's been given a car and she's been called a woman of determination and she
Well, who gave her a car? You know, what a terrible thing. She's a terrible driver and she gets a car.
That's what worries me is everyone goes, yay, you're finally here. There are some people who should never be on the road.
You're a late bloomer.
I was
driving?
I was in my late 20s. I was probably 27 when I got my driver's license.
Yeah.
I was travelling the world with Beyond 2000 driving. I drove a car in New York but didn't have a driver's license. Yeah. I did have a piece of paper that said if I get pulled over to talk to a scamp's friend, the superintendent.
And you're a late bloomer in other things as well,
weren't you? Very amusing. I've got a piece of paper for that too.
Well, you got off your red piece, though, didn't you?
And end and scene.
The cutting room floor. Okay, kids, that's it for today. Come back tomorrow for more of Jonesy and Amanda's cutting room floor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The cutting room floor.